Been on the fence about applying for the PPP loan, not sure exactly where to do it or how to? Well, today we're going to be talking about Womply, how exactly that is the best way that we've found to apply for the PPP loan. We're also going to be answering some viewers' questions from our last PPP video. So let's get started. Hi, I'm Tyler from the Rideshare Guy. On today's episode, we're talking about the PPP loan. We're actually going to go in and apply through Womply for my own personal PPP loan. At the end of the video, we'll show you how much that Womply said we are going to get. We'll take a look at that, and we're going to answer some questions from you. So first, let's take a look at a couple of the questions before we get started, because some people are confused about some of these things. So for instance, when you're applying, you need, and they ask for what's called a Schedule C. Now this Schedule C is something that a lot of people aren't familiar with, but it's something that you've actually been doing and using every time you do your taxes as a rideshare driver. So when you do your taxes, if you look at that tax return on there, there will be what's called a Schedule C form. So obviously you don't send your entire tax return to them when you submit it. So you're only going to want to send that Schedule C. So the easiest way to do it is to, if you have that on a PDF on your computer, you just simply go in, you find those documents, and then you go in to print them. And then you print. On mine it said Microsoft Print to PDF. Sometimes it'll say save as PDF, but you click that and just save the pages that are the Schedule Cs. Usually if all you do is drive for Uber, you're only going to have one Schedule C. I had multiple because I have multiple different side hustles and businesses. If you do, you're also going to have several different Schedule Cs, so make sure you include all of those, because it was because of all of those that I was able to get as much as I did. Another question that's asked a lot is, do you have to be an LLC? The answer is no. As a sole proprietor, you can apply simply without having any of that legal documentation, being an LLC or anything. You're good to go. So go ahead and apply. Don't think that because you don't have an LLC, you're not incorporated, that you're not going to get it. You absolutely will. Not only that, you're going to get a lot more because with everything set up, you're now getting able to apply before expenses. So you're actually getting a lot more money than you were before. So right now is the perfect time to apply. Then the last question we'll answer before we go into applying is, if I work another regular job, a W-2 job, can I not apply for the PPP? The answer is you absolutely can. So you have that's a separate thing. It's a business that you're running. Driving for Uber is your business. So you're absolutely able to apply for that PPP loan, even if you do have another job as well. So definitely something that you can do and should do. The money is forgivable, so essentially it's free money at this point. So definitely something you should apply. So now that we've got those questions answered, let's dive into the video and show you the process to actually apply using Womply, our service of choice for applying for the PPP loan. So as you can see, we go into the link. It's very self-explanatory. It has my business has multiple employees. My business does not have multiple employees. It even says Uber drivers, DoorDash couriers, independent contractors. So very simple. Womply does that for you. It's really great. So we'll get started. Then I don't know how it says my email's already in use. I haven't even put one in. But we'll get started with the putting the information in, and then we'll go to the next step. And they have the fast lane where you might get it a little quicker. So we're gonna check these boxes and look at it. I have a US mobile phone number. All right, so they emailed me a link. Let me go over and check that. So after they send an email for you to verify, they then send a text message to you so that you can verify again. Then you get taken to this screen, which explains that if you're doing fake documents or giving false information, all the horrible things that could happen to you. The forgiveness will be denied. You'll get caught, and you may go to jail. So definitely don't do that. But it's nice that they put that in there. So then it tells you to stay secure and all the information you need. So there you go. So then you click start new application. All right, from here, don't click the start new application because then it'll just go through the same thing over and over again. Click the see details button, and then it gives you all this information. You click continue, and that's when you start putting the information in. So you click next and start putting your information in. So at this point, I have entered all my information. I was able to upload my bank information. I tried to use, because I have a PayPal business account, I tried to use that and had some issues. Wasn't able to use that for some reason, so I used a different business account that I have. So just, something for you to know. Now we're at a point where it's asking some additional questions. I've already uploaded my tax documents, but it says while they're looking those over to answer some additional questions. So we have this first one, if I'm a farmer or not. Um, uh, did I provide one or more 2020 Schedule C? So I have it, but it said that it only needed a 2019 or a 2020. So I used 2019 because those numbers were higher. Now that's for 2019. And now it's asking for the actual information. After we put in how much our income was, then it asks what best describe you: self-employed, independent contractor, 1099 worker, or sole proprietor. You also have the LLC or qualified joint venture. Um, Most likely not going to use these. Self-employed, as a driver, you're self-employed. 1099 worker, if you do make enough, you get 1099. So I would go with independent contractor. I have a few other things, so I'm going with sole proprietor. But the independent contractor would probably be best for Uber drivers. Oh, it even asks additional here, what best suits, what best describes your business. So you pick one of these. So you got Uber, DoorDash, Uber Eats, Postmates, Instacart as courier, or if you're mostly the rideshare driving, hotels, barbershop, whatever the case may be. So obviously, really happy news for me. Now, mine was not just all Uber, because I have quite a bit of different businesses and things that I do. But $10,000 forgivable money is awesome. So really looking forward to this and really excited about it. So here it's just explaining how the loan is going to work and when you're going to get it, and all those things. So just click I understand. So here it's just explaining Womply helps with this. It's a fast lane, collects the information and does the documents for you, but they're not legally responsible. So make sure that you're also reading all the legal requirements and things like that. So after you verify a few things, your information, you had to upload your ID. I'm using a computer that has a camera that's so-so when it comes to the fine detail when you put that up. So it took me a little bit to get that working. If you're using a tablet or a phone, it's going to be way easier to upload an ID. You just take a picture of it, but that worked great. So now they've given me this information. They say they'll email me within 24 hours. So everything's looking good so far. Really excited about this. All right, so you saw the process. Really excited about getting both draws of about 5,000 each, or over $10,000 that we qualify for. Still waiting to hear from Womply, but I've uploaded everything as truthfully as I can, so I don't see any issues moving forward with that process. That being the case, now that we've applied and we've got that, there's some additional questions that a lot of people have when it comes to that money. So first off, as I mentioned while I was applying for it, I had an issue. I prefer to do most of my business income through PayPal. I have a PayPal business account, but for some reason, Womply couldn't connect to PayPal for some reason. So I had to use a different bank, another bank account. So not a big deal. But you want to make sure that you're using that money in a way that it will definitely get forgiven. So how do you do that? What are qualifying expenses? So for us, an owner's draw is the simplest way. Basically, pay yourself and make sure that you can have documentation you can show. So make sure that that account that you're putting it in is not your personal account and then it's going from there. Have it be a business account or even a separate checking account. There's a lot of online banks that you can start a checking account and just use that. almost as if it's a business account, so that you have it separated, so that if anything does come up, that you can say, hey, look, this is where the money went in, this is where it went out, went into this account. So that way it's a lot easier in case anything happens. The number one thing I can recommend, though, is treat this as a loan until it's forgiven. So if it doesn't get forgiven, which very unlikely it won't get forgiven, if it doesn't, it's a very low percentage of interest. So keep that in mind. But you want it to be forgiven. But until it does, treat it as a loan. So expect to pay it back. If you don't need that money for a specific thing right now, I recommend putting it in an account that'll get interest. And so worst case scenario, you get some money at the end of it if you have to pay it back. But again, most likely if you take it out and use it as payment for yourself or owner's draw, you're definitely going to get that money forgiven. So that leads to the question, how do I pay myself? So again, you have the owner's draw, so you can accept all of it into your account as your owner's draw for those weeks. You could separate it into it, figure out how much you get paid per week and pay yourself each week that amount of money. You could pay yourself each month. A lot of rideshare drivers, we cash out every day, so you could pay yourself on a daily basis. Just figure out how much that money is per day. So divide by whatever that amount of money is by 8 weeks and figure out how much you get each week, or figure out each day and pay yourself from that account that's separate each day or each week. That's one easy, simple way to do it. But again, remember, treat it as a loan if you can, but that's a really easy way to get that done. Another question that comes up a lot, if I have the PUA, can I also get PPP? So PUA is a form of unemployment for gig workers, and the answer is yes and no. So no, you can't get it at the same time, but yes, if you get unemployment, then for those weeks that the PPP loan kicks in, then you would not get unemployment those weeks. So you'd want to make sure that you claim that and not get that. One person even asked, if I typically make more money driving than I am right now with the PUA, can I use the PPP loan to make the difference? And the answer is unfortunately no. It makes sense that you would be able to do that, but right now, the way that everything's set up, the answer is no. So hold on to that money. If you are getting enough with the unemployment, you don't necessarily want to do the PPP, or if you want to get that lump sum from the PPP and then not deal with unemployment for a few weeks, that's a great option as well. Or if you're not getting the PUA, then just deal with the PPP. That's our show. Thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe to the channel. Give us a thumbs up if you like this video. Leave a comment if you have any questions whatsoever. We read every single one of them. Thank you very much, and stay safe out there, everyone.